Welcome back to High School Football Weekly. Frank Wolf from WNY Athletics with Dick Gallagher. We're here at New Era Field, in case you haven't noticed. And our next guest is Scott Kindberg from the Post-Journal. Scott, you have been covering those teams down there for not as long as I've been alive, because you don't look much older than me.
Well, close.
But you've been hitting it out of the park with those teams: Jamestown, Southwestern, Franklinville, Ellicottville, and CSP. Three teams that are here right now that we wanted to get your opinion on, because we read about them. I've seen Southwestern a couple times this year. I've seen CSP once. I haven't seen Franklinville, Ellicottville live in person, and I need to get your thoughts on that team. To me, from what I've read and from what limited video I've seen on them, they just look like a really, really nasty team to play against.
Yeah, I've only seen them once, Frank, but that was the game against CSP, and they were tremendous. CSP had opportunities early in the red zone a couple times. Actually, they got stopped on downs at the 1, and then Logan Frank took them on a 99-yard drive the other way. Logan Frank is the real deal. I think it would be a good day if CSP held him to a couple touchdowns, whether with his arm or primarily it's his legs, but he really was tremendous throwing the ball. And on that drive I indicated, on that 99-yard drive, they had a 4th and 18, and he threw a touchdown pass on 4th and 18. So he is the real deal, and frankly probably should be considered for one of the all-Western New York teams. He's just a tremendous athlete, and he's only a junior.
Yeah, that's the other thing I noticed about Franklinville, Ellicottville. They have a younger team, so to speak, and their JV team looks pretty good. I mean, the entire program looks like Jason March has that team rolling in the right direction.
Yeah.
Not that they weren't heading in the right direction as it was. I thought last year they were up a class, and they probably should have been in D. I think their success,
right?
With Brock Bleka and those teams that came through here, I think they were a victim of their own success.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
Because that D could have been crazy last year with Franklinville.
Oh yeah, they're a special team, and good kids. Jason does a great job. And they haven't missed a beat. When you lose somebody the caliber of Chad Bartosik, who moved over to his alma mater, you wonder if there'll be any fallout. Well, not at all. Jason's done a tremendous job, and he's a Salamanca grad as well. Told me he played here at the stadium several times as a high school kid, and so obviously he's relishing the chance to get back.
Scott, this game, we've been talking about this game since the first one. They're going to probably end up playing at New Era Field. Mm-hmm. Can you see one of those instances where CSP can put pressure or work on that rush that they have? And they have a good offensive line there, good defensive line. They put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. It seemed like that might have been the biggest issue for CSP back, was just at the line.
Well, they graduated their entire line from last year, so most of those kids had exactly 2 games prior to that game against Franklinville, Ellicottville, and they were green as could be. Now, having said that, take nothing away from what the Titans did. They were that night. They were clearly the better team. Now the question is, how much has the gap closed? And are the Wolfpack, have they leveled things off at the line? Because certainly their skill players are awesome, but can they be aggressive enough to contain reasonably Logan? And if they can do that, and they are primarily a running team, the Titans. So but they didn't do a good job. I think they rushed for almost 300 yards in that game. Yeah. So honestly, if you told me who the favorite was, it would be Franklinville, Ellicottville, and I think Ty Harper wouldn't dispute that right now. The target isn't on their back, even as defending state champs, because the Titans took care of that in week 3.
Yeah.
So that would be my assessment, that I think the favorite, because of their at the point of attack, were so much stronger in week 3. Now we'll see what happens if the Wolfpack can close that gap a little bit.
Well, I'm sorry.
I think both of those teams are outstanding in the D, Class D, and whoever wins that game can go and pursue a state championship because both teams are talented, and particularly when you look at what CSP did last year,
Right.
and you look at how the Titans have dominated them this year. I'm looking forward to that game because it's smash mouth football, and it's bragging rights.
Well, and as I don't have to tell you, Dick, that Class D, whoever comes out of it, historically, from Maple Grove, Randolph, CSP last year, the track record is pretty good for Section 6. Moving forward, it often is, and even back when Jay O'Kalkrick played for Clymer, they made 4 straight trips. We won 4 straight sectional titles. So it's just getting out of Section 6 that is often the biggest hurdle, when you look at the whole state. So I agree with you. Yep.
Southwestern has been playing at an extremely high level all year. I don't think anybody didn't expect them to make it this far.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been a huge disappointment if they didn't. They're here. They've dominated all year, particularly Taiwan Wright has been an outstanding football player, and there's more players there.
Yeah.
You expected this.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And when it was announced a month or so ago that Coach Jay O'Kalkrick was going to be leaving, I knew they wouldn't skip a beat. And now that they don't have Cleveland Hill standing in their way, that had been the bugaboo for Southwestern for the last several years.
And when I look at it now, it's like Wilson finally got here, and
Right.
you were at those games, so you saw how heartbreaking it was for them to lose those 2 games to Southwestern. They finally make it. Oh, but you got to play Southwestern, who's got Conrad Thomas, Taiwan Wright, Aiden Kennedy's a very good quarterback,
Yeah.
Serto at wide receiver, and then Panis,
Right.
who's just an animal. Unquestionable. It was never a doubt that they were going to make it here, I don't think.
Well, and the other thing with Southwestern is that maybe it wasn't as strong in the last couple of years, but their line has been tremendous.
I think that's one of the areas that people don't really talk about, that they don't get enough respect there in the line, but they have been dominant.
Yeah, that's I think the difference. I think that maybe Coach Burkholder may have addressed that when he talked to you guys. To me, and my other staff members have been the ones to see Southwestern because they play. Their home games are the same nights as Jamestown, so I'm usually at Strider or on the road with Jamestown. So I haven't looked personally at them, but I just know their personnel and Jake has been joined at the hip with JU since Jake was just a little guy because they've been close friends, almost family members, and so I knew that the transition from one coach to the next would be seamless because they have a really good staff, and this was not a surprise. But the key, I think, and Jake may have alluded to it, is their ability to block offensively and do a good job defensively along the line because they have the other pieces. I think maybe in other years they didn't quite have, even though they had great skill players.
Yes.
I don't know if their line was as cohesive and as strong. Now it's just tremendous.
Like this Southwestern team now would give Cleve Hill a run for the money last year. This team, just that edge rush they have, and being able to contain the runners, I think this would be a much better game than what we've seen the last couple of years. But they're here, and I think we're going to still see a pretty good game on Saturday, you hope anyways. But this is Scott Kindberg from the Post-Journal. You can catch him on Twitter at Scott Kindberg, normally hanging around Jamestown, but he's coming back up to follow the Southwestern team, CSP, and hopefully we'll see you at Brockport and then even further down the road.
Look forward to it. Thanks for having me, Frank.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure.
Dick.
This is going to be the 4th time Southwestern is here in a row.
Wow.
Wilson hasn't been here since 1990. Those kids, the Trojans, have been here, done it.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how the Lake Men adapt to playing that new era field.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for having me.
Love it.